What's up YouTube? Today we're going to take a look at my Glock 19 Gen 5. In some of my other videos I've had various questions about it and figured it was time that I filmed a video on this particular build and share a little bit of my philosophy of it with you. So first I'll go over the parts and then I'll sort of go over my philosophy of why I did what I did. So the base gun is a standard Glock 19 Gen 5 non-MOS. We'll start from the top to the bottom. I had the slide milled by Jagerwerks for a direct mount for the Aimpoint ACRO. Of course, it does have an Aimpoint ACRO P2. It has the Tango down forward controls, front shield, I forget exactly what it's called. It does have the newly released forward control designs reinforced battery cap. The original one is plastic, it doesn't really matter, but they offered it, I thought it was neat, and I sort of did see the value in it. They say that the main purpose, aside from it being, Phillips head and being more robust material-wise, is it does stand a little bit prouder than the original, supposedly so you can't inadvertently bump these buttons. And with the front lens cover and this, I mean, you're not going to be able to inadvertently bump it. So I guess that is a nice feature. It has a Mariglow suppressor height sights. They're all black front and rear. It has the Tango down slide stop, slide release, whatever you want to call it. It has the Glock Performance trigger. It has Glock OEM maritime spring cups. Did that just for fun. It has a Agency Arms magazine release and an Agency Arms magwell. Other than that, the gun is completely stock, and now I guess I'll get into the philosophy of why I did that, why it's built the way that it is. So in my mind, like I've said, I wanted to build the ultimate OEM defensive carry gun. I also intend to shoot USPSA with this, so I wanted it to be 100% reliable. I shoot USPSA with a standard Glock Gen 4 with Wilson Combat sights with a fiber optic front. And, in these USPSA matches, I'll see guys that'll have these Gucci Glocks that the slide has all sorts of lightning cuts in it, and they'll have, reduced power firing pin springs, or they'll have some sort of skeletonized titanium firing pin and all this sort of stuff. And that's all cool and great, and I'm not knocking anybody that wants to do that, but I do see them have issues with it. And, you'll see them have an issue and stumble, and they'll come back with their head hung low, and you'll ask them, or at least I do, just because I'm curious by nature what's going on. Oh, I zigged when I should have zagged and all this sort of stuff. And once they really start being honest, they're like, well, I had a light primer strike, or I had a failure to extract or eject and all this sort of stuff. And more often than not, in my opinion, it's because they have messed with the timing and they're changing parts that you don't really need to change. And their goal, their gamers, is they're trying to game the system and get that, 10 thousandths of a second, shaved off their time, which is great. Not totally not knocking that. A lot of them are much better shooters than I am. But all things considered, if we shoot a match and you're a few tenths of a second faster than me because you have all these gamer stuff on your gun and you beat me, that's great. But on the stage that you have the light primer strike because you have messed with the gun, and I don't, we're either going to be neck and neck, or I'm going to beat you because I didn't have any sort of malfunction. And given that this is also a carry gun, one, you could argue there are all sorts of, legal can of worms that you could open up to yourself if you had to use it in a defensive situation. I hope none of us ever have to do that. Chances are none of us will. But, if for some reason the moment chooses you and you're carrying some sort of gamer gun and you pull it out and you get a light strike, or you get the first round off and you're having some sort of reliability issue, that's not good. That's really not a good situation to be in. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I think you can see my point. And so that's why my idea, kind of repeat myself, stole this from kind of the car community, OEM plus. I wanted everything you need, nothing you don't. And in my eyes, really, this is the ultimate Gucci OEM, always reliable setup. The only thing that I'll say that I'm on the fence about it. I'm not going to remove it because I do like it. It does feel so much better in your hand because it pushes your hand up. The Agency Arms Gen 5 magwell, in my opinion, is more of a duty magwell to where you're going to be open carrying and possibly carrying a magazine with an extended base plate. It works with the OEM magazines very well, but if you were to have some sort of stuck magazine situation or some sort of malfunction where you needed to strip the magazine out, there's really no way to pinch your fingers on it. It's completely enclosed. You can see that in one of my previous videos where I go over this magwell. Whereas the Gen 4 Agency magwell, because the frame is not flared on the Gen 4, you can use whatever base plate you want. I'm a Vickers base plate guy, and you can still strip the magazine out if you have an issue. The Vickers base plates that I love do not fit with this magwell. In my humble opinion, this magwell is really meant for people that are running some sort of extended base plate where they would be able to get a full grip on the magazine and pull it out. Like I said, I'm not going to take it off. It's not really that big of a deal, but I do have let me get it real quick. I do have a Glock 47 that I'm building to be essentially this gun exactly, just obviously with a longer sight radius, really just for fun. 2 is 1, 1 is none is kind of the way I look at it. And of course, if I'm going to shoot USPSA with this, having the longer barrel, you could argue is a little bit preferable. So that being said, why I even pulled this out, you can see the magwell here. Agency does make one for this, but I really am not going to put it on this one. It's the only deviation I'm going to make. These are going to be 1-to-1 clones essentially. As you can see, I've already somewhat started, but haven't completely bought all the parts yet. Some of them I've seen are out of stock, but that's a conversation for another time. Is just because I like running standard capacity magazines. Not saying that I don't have those that have base plates and stuff on them or +2s on them and stuff, and that's great. More power to you. I enjoy them too, but I don't always want to run them, especially when you get in USPSA. I mean, yes, you can run the extended magazines and stuff, but I'm not out there to rank #1 on the leaderboard. I'm out there for training purposes and to really run my equipment in a real way to make sure that it is good to go. And so, I want to run it how I would carry it. I'm going to carry it with a flush magazine. I'm not going to carry it with a 25 round Glock magazine or, a Glock 19 magazine with the Agency Arms, $60 base plate to have 4 more rounds in it, so it can print like crazy. I'm just not going to do that. So, that being said, if you were going to build something like this, I would just consider potentially not putting a magwell on it. That's just my personal, from experience using this gun, that's just sort of my only caveat. But if you have any other questions, I want to quit rambling. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you find some sort of value in this. If there are any videos you would like to see, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I try my best to reply to every single comment, and I just appreciate all the new followers. I've gotten some new followers. My goal here is not necessarily, as I always say, to get followers. I'm really just trying to put some information out on items, be it firearms or clothes or anything else that I wanted some more information on and really just couldn't find it, and especially couldn't find it in a very easy to watch YouTube video. So just appreciate everybody, and I hope y'all are all doing well, and I will see you in the next one.